You already know the mistake you made. Whether it's leading up to actually making the mistake or at the end of the day, looking back on your trades and executions and realizing that's the mistake I made, you can reflect and pretty easily come to a solution. If you've been trading for more than a month, it's not hard to identify it. And that's exactly what this whole be your mentor thing is all about. I started doing this be your mentor journaling method that I came up with on my own, and it has drastically improved my trading to the extent where I have been pulling payouts. I have been making a consistently positive equity curve. I am on my way to being profitable withdrawing payouts and passing challenges because of journaling methods like this, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how I do this journaling procedure and how it helps me so much, why it's important, and an example of when this was really helpful. If you're even watching a video like this, odds are education is not the issue. And that first line should really resonate with you hard because you know the mistake you're making, and it's so true. You don't need to consume more educational content on how to use this confluence better, or if you should add this confluence to your trading, or if you should try out this asset or try out this time frame. You are not at a point where education in the sense of mechanical market structure is the issue. It's almost never the issue, and that's not news to you. You already know that. 90% of trading is psychological, and 10% is just a simple strategy. My strategy is very simple. It's methods like this that have allowed me to take my trading to the next level and get paid. Education is not your limiting factor. I took a trade a couple months ago, and it was on gold. And I have it here in my journal, and I remember this trade because it was a frustrating trade, and I knew I was making a mistake before I even made it, and it's why it's so important we do journaling like this. It was a trade on gold. It was a gold long position, and in my journal I wrote, this was a bad trade, and I knew it was a bad trade. This was a trade about over trading because when I looked at the market, there were bulls and there were bears, and I couldn't develop a clear bias on whether we were going to go higher or whether we were going to go lower. And in that point where I didn't understand and have a strong confluence of where we were going, rather than sitting on my hands, I pressed the button anyway. I made the decision that I don't know where we're going, but I'm going to trade anyway. And I wrote it down, and it was over trading. I made a mistake, and I knew I was making it. You are your profitable self already. What is your profitable self telling you? This procedure is so important because number one, we need to identify what we did wrong. That's easy, should be pretty fast. For me, in that context, it was over trading. Boom, over trading. Next step, why? Why do you overtrade? We have the identification of what the problem was, overtrading. What is the root cause? Why do people overtrade? Is it greed? Is it eagerness? Is it fear of missing out? All of these are things that I face and struggle with in my time trading. We need to identify those as well. Those are your root causes. And then we need to get to the final step, which is solving. Solving is the element in which we say, okay, this was the problem, overtrading. This was the motivator, FOMO, fear of missing out. Then we solve it. How do we solve it? Psychological explanation and reminders. Journaling is so important because you can look back to the last time you had FOMO. Okay, I had FOMO before, let me go look here. Well, the last time I had FOMO, I ended up losing more money than I would have made, and I actually lost out on a payout. Okay, so when I feel FOMO, remember something like that. I don't feel FOMO as much. Okay, I'm feeling greed. Maybe greed was your motivator. You want to make more money in that trade, so you're over trading to get there. You're greedy. Solve it. What do people say about greed? The whole pie isn't yours. The whole cake isn't yours. You are here to take your slice and leave. If you try to take more, you will leave empty-handed. Not every day is a day for you to take money. And you need to recognize that. And you build more trust in that by having a log of all the times that you were greedy and saying, oh, I was greedy here and I lost because of it. I was greedy here and I lost because of it. I was greedy here and I lost because of it. I was greedy here and I remembered all of these and I decided not to act on that greed because every time I do, I lose. That's the solving process. You need to be brutally honest with yourself in these situations because nobody is coming to save you. And you need to be your mentor because you already know the solution. You're not a dummy. You know what you're doing wrong. And I'm speaking to myself here because I've been that person way too many times where I looked at the markets, I felt an emotion, and I knew that it was an emotion that I shouldn't act on, and I acted on it anyway. And that leads us to this method. Be your mentor. It's exactly what it sounds like. I've done over 100 of these entries, and they're pretty straightforward. Oops. Pretty straightforward. The criteria is simple. All you're doing, here was the gold trade that I was talking about. This was a sloppy trade, and you shouldn't have taken it. The 4-hour time frame didn't support bulls or bears. That means you should sit out. We didn't sweep a clear point of interest on the 4-hour or the daily to support a bull play. It was a bad trade, and I should be patient and only take good trades, not gambles. In this box, what I have done is I have said, okay, you're unprofitable. What if you were profitable? What would you tell yourself right now? Because it's not a mystery, it's not a trick question. You know what you would be telling yourself because you've probably heard it before from people that are mentors. You've probably heard people who know the strategy and teach the strategy saying, don't do this because this is the consequence. Education is not the limiting factor. So do that for every single trade. Identify what the issue was. Identify the root cause. Overtrading, revenge, sloppy. And then speak to yourself. Have this dialect with yourself. Make it a memorable conversation. Follow your rules. Profitability is yours. And then the better you get, the more it starts to become emotionless, 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 emotionless. You start to solve those problems because you did the steps beforehand. That's how you become a better trader. I'm doing a Road to 25K payout challenge now. I'm tracking the entire journey. If you want to see my losses and my wins, I'm being completely transparent throughout the entire journey. So if that is something that interests you and you want to follow along with the journey, I'm risking $1,000 per trade. The risk has leveled up. We're talking real money, real trades, real wins, and real losses. It's the real deal. I'm excited. I just started last week. So if you want to stay tuned with that, please subscribe for more content like this and that series as well. Thank you for watching.